Beneath your feet right now, miles below the surface where you walk, eat, and sleep, there might be an entire world you've never seen, a network of cities, bunkers, and tunnels built in secret, housing technology and truths that would shatter everything you believe about reality. This isn't science fiction. Documented evidence proves that massive underground facilities exist across the globe. But the question that keeps conspiracy researchers awake at night isn't whether these cities exist, it's what's actually happening inside them, and why governments spend billions keeping them secret. Today, we're going underground to explore facilities that officially don't exist, technologies that haven't been invented yet, and possibilities that challenge everything we think we know about who controls our world and what they're preparing for. Let me start with what we know for certain, because the truth is already strange enough without embellishment. Derinkuyu in Turkey is an ancient underground city that housed up to 20,000 people, extending 200 feet below the surface with ventilation shafts, wells, wine cellars, chapels, and stables. It was hidden for centuries until a homeowner discovered it behind a wall in 1963. If ancient civilizations built cities this sophisticated underground, what could modern governments with unlimited budgets and advanced technology create? The United States government openly admits to several massive underground facilities. Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado was built during the Cold War to survive nuclear attack, housing NORAD behind 25-ton blast doors inside a granite mountain. The facility sits on springs to absorb shock waves, with its own power plant, water supply, and air filtration systems capable of sustaining thousands of people for months. Raven Rock Mountain Complex in Pennsylvania, often called the Underground Pentagon, serves as an alternate command center with 6 reservoirs holding millions of gallons of water, enough diesel fuel to run generators for 30 days, and communication systems connecting to every military installation worldwide. These facilities exist. The government acknowledges them. But here's where things get interesting, these are only the ones they admit to. Conspiracy researchers have identified over 100 suspected deep underground military bases, called DUMBs in the community, scattered across the United States and connected by high-speed underground rail systems. Witnesses report hearing mysterious booms and feeling unexplained vibrations in areas near suspected tunnel construction. Seismographs pick up unusual patterns that don't match natural earthquakes, rhythmic, repetitive, consistent with massive boring machines carving through bedrock miles below the surface. Phil Schneider, a geological engineer who claimed to have worked on the construction of these bases, went public in 1995 with explosive allegations. He stated that over 130 deep underground military bases existed in the United States alone, built at depths exceeding 2 miles, connected by magnetic levitation trains traveling thousands of miles per hour through vacuum-sealed tunnels. Schneider died under suspicious circumstances in 1996, found with a catheter hose wrapped around his neck, ruled a suicide despite evidence suggesting otherwise. His death followed months of public lectures exposing what he claimed to have witnessed underground. According to Schneider and other whistleblowers, these facilities aren't just bunkers for government continuity, they're centers of advanced research into technologies decades beyond what the public knows exists. Genetic experimentation, exotic propulsion systems, reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology, and weapon systems that would seem like magic to ordinary citizens. The depths at which these bases allegedly operate, some reportedly exceeding 6 miles underground, would make them virtually impervious to any surface attack, natural disaster, or detection by conventional means. Denver International Airport has become ground zero for underground base conspiracy theories, and for good reason. The airport's construction went wildly over budget, costing nearly $5 billion and taking years longer than planned. Workers reported that entire sections were built, then buried and rebuilt, unusual for any construction project. The airport sits on 53 square miles, far larger than necessary for an airport, with rumors of vast underground levels extending deep beneath the runways. The airport's bizarre artwork adds fuel to these theories. Murals depict apocalyptic scenes of cities burning, children in coffins, military figures in gas masks wielding swords, and cryptic imagery that seems wildly inappropriate for an airport. A massive blue horse sculpture with glowing red eyes, which killed its creator when part of it fell on him during construction, guards the entrance. Plaques reference the New World Airport Commission, an organization that doesn't officially exist, and Masonic symbols are embedded in the floor. Why would a simple airport feature such ominous symbolism unless it serves a purpose far beyond commercial aviation? Former employees have reported restricted areas far larger than security protocols would require, elevator panels with buttons for floors that supposedly don't exist, and strange humming sounds emanating from beneath the ground at night. The official explanation is that these underground areas house maintenance equipment and baggage systems. But does baggage handling require $5 billion and multiple levels extending hundreds of feet below ground? The theory suggests that Denver International Airport serves as a hub city for the underground network, a place where the elite could gather during a catastrophic event, with the airport providing cover for constant arrivals and departures that would otherwise seem suspicious. Its location in the geographic center of the United States makes it ideal for rapid access from any coast. Sweden openly operates underground facilities of staggering scale. The Pienen Data Center in Stockholm sits 100 feet inside a granite mountain, built inside a former nuclear bunker, featuring waterfalls, submarine engines repurposed as generators, and enough security to rival military installations. If private companies build facilities like this, what are governments building in secret? Norway's Svalbard Global Seed Vault, while officially just a seed repository, sits deep inside a mountain on a remote Arctic island and can withstand virtually any disaster. The facility stores nearly 1 million seed samples, safeguarding agriculture against extinction. It's built to last for centuries and can maintain freezing temperatures even without power. This is what governments build when they acknowledge preparing for catastrophe. What else are they building that they don't acknowledge? The alleged underground rail network connecting these facilities represents perhaps the most ambitious engineering project in human history, if it exists. Patent documents prove that technology for high-speed underground magnetic levitation trains does exist. The RAND Corporation published papers in the 1970s describing transcontinental underground transit systems using precisely this technology. The patents describe trains traveling in vacuum tunnels, eliminating air resistance, capable of reaching speeds exceeding 10,000 miles per hour. Witnesses in Nevada, New Mexico, Colorado, and California report hearing deep underground rumbling, particularly at night, lasting for hours, consistent with massive machinery or vehicles passing through tunnels far below. Hikers in remote areas have stumbled upon ventilation shafts disguised as natural rock formations, emitting warm air and faint mechanical sounds. If these tunnels exist, they would allow rapid, undetectable movement of personnel, materials, and technology across vast distances, completely invisible to satellite surveillance or public observation. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect of underground city theories isn't the facilities themselves, it's who they're built for and what events they're preparing for. Government continuity plans are public knowledge. In the event of nuclear war, pandemic, or societal collapse, designated officials would retreat to secure locations to preserve government function. But conspiracy researchers argue these facilities represent something far more selective, survival arcs for the chosen few while the rest of humanity faces extinction on the surface. The Georgia Guidestones, destroyed in 2022, featured instructions in multiple languages calling for maintaining humanity at 500 million people in perpetual balance with nature, a reduction of over 90% from current population levels. If elites plan for massive population reduction, whether through war, disease, or environmental collapse, underground cities would ensure their survival while the surface world burns. Some theories go even darker, suggesting these facilities house not just government and military, but parallel civilizations that have existed underground for decades. The Dulce Base in New Mexico is perhaps the most notorious of these allegations. Situated beneath Archuleta Mesa, the Dulce Base supposedly extends 7 levels deep, with the upper levels dedicated to human military operations and the lower levels operating under joint human-alien control. Security officer Thomas Costello claimed to have worked there before fleeing with evidence in 1979, stating that genetic experiments combining human and animal DNA occurred in the deepest levels, creating hybrid beings for purposes he couldn't fully understand. Costello described an attempted rebellion by base personnel horrified by what they witnessed, resulting in a firefight between humans and non-human entities, leaving dozens dead. He disappeared after going public with his claims, never to be seen again. While no hard evidence of Dulce Base exists, the consistency of witness accounts and the remote, restricted nature of the area keep the theory alive. The technology allegedly developed in these underground facilities pushes the boundaries of known physics. Free energy devices that tap into zero-point energy fields, anti-gravity propulsion systems, consciousness interface technology allowing direct mental control of machinery, and medical technologies capable of regenerating tissue and extending life far beyond natural limits. If such technologies exist, keeping them underground makes strategic sense. Release them too early, and they disrupt power structures, economies, and social control mechanisms that keep populations manageable. The breakaway civilization theory suggests that a segment of humanity has effectively separated from surface society, developing independently with access to resources and technology that make them nearly godlike compared to ordinary humans. They live underground, surface occasionally for specific purposes, and view the rest of humanity as a separate, lesser species. This theory explains alleged UFO sightings as not extraterrestrial craft, but advanced human technology developed in secret, tested away from public eyes, based in facilities the public doesn't know exist. Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center in Virginia is another confirmed facility, designed as the backup capital of the United States. It features dormitories for several thousand people, hospitals, communications equipment, a lake fed by natural springs, and even a crematorium. The facility has been activated during emergencies, including on September 11, 2001, when key government officials were evacuated there. If this is what they admit to building, what else exists that they don't mention? Nuclear weapons testing in Nevada throughout the 1950s and 60s created thousands of underground caverns from the explosions. Official records show over 900 nuclear tests at the Nevada test site. But some researchers suggest these tests serve dual purposes, disposing of nuclear material while simultaneously excavating massive underground spaces that could later be developed into habitable facilities, with the radiation excuse preventing civilian access for decades while construction occurred in secret. Australian researcher Stephen Strong documented Aboriginal legends describing ancient underground cities beneath Australia, with entrance points near Uluru and in the Blue Mountains. While mainstream archaeologists dismiss these as mythology, the consistency of these stories across thousands of years and multiple tribal groups suggests possible basis in reality. Ancient civilizations across the world, from the Hopi in North America to the Tibetan accounts of Agartha, share stories of people who live inside the earth, possessing advanced knowledge and occasionally interacting with surface dwellers. The modern underground city phenomenon may not be new at all, but rather the latest iteration of a pattern stretching back thousands of years. Whenever catastrophe threatens, the knowledgeable retreat underground, preserving themselves and their wisdom until the surface becomes safe again. What if recorded history, the history taught in schools, represents only the surface world, while the real continuity of advanced civilization has always existed in the depths, periodically emerging to guide or manipulate surface societies toward specific outcomes? Climatologists predict increasingly severe environmental changes in coming decades. Military strategists wargame societal collapse scenarios. Epidemiologists warn of pandemic threats. Astronomers track potentially hazardous asteroids. Every credible threat to human civilization is documented and studied by people with the resources to prepare. If you had unlimited money and genuinely believed catastrophe was inevitable, wouldn't you build a fortress that could survive anything? Wouldn't you keep it secret to prevent panic and ensure only chosen people could access it? The financial cost of building such facilities strains belief, until you examine missing money. The Department of Defense has failed multiple audits, with trillions of dollars in transactions that cannot be accounted for. Black budget programs operate beyond congressional oversight. Where does that money go? What could possibly require trillions of dollars beyond public scrutiny? Underground cities representing humanity's backup plan would certainly qualify. Leaked documents from the 1950s describe Project Greek Island, an underground bunker beneath the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia, designed to house Congress during nuclear war. The facility operated in secret for 30 years until exposed by journalists. If they built that in the 1950s, what have they built in the 70 years since, with exponentially more advanced technology and construction techniques? So what happens next? If these cities exist, if preparations are complete, what event are they waiting for? Some theories point to solar flares capable of destroying electrical grids. Others focus on asteroid impacts or pole shifts. Many believe economic collapse and resource wars will drive humanity underground. The specifics matter less than the pattern: elites preparing for catastrophe while maintaining public calm, building lifeboats for themselves while the rest of humanity remains oblivious to approaching disaster. But here's an alternative interpretation that offers a glimmer of hope. What if these facilities aren't just for elites, but represent genuine attempts to preserve human knowledge and genetic diversity in case of extinction-level events? What if they're insurance policies for the entire species, not just the wealthy? The Svalbard Seed Vault preserves agriculture for everyone, not just Norway. Perhaps other facilities serve similar universal purposes, even if access during crisis would necessarily be limited. The truth probably lies between extremes. Underground facilities exist, that's confirmed. Some house legitimate defensive infrastructure. Others likely serve as continuity of government locations. And perhaps some house projects and technologies deemed too sensitive, dangerous, or destabilizing for public knowledge. Whether that secrecy serves our protection or our exploitation remains the unanswered question. What we can say with certainty is this: governments and wealthy elites possess both the motivation and resources to build extensive underground infrastructure. Technology exists to create cities beneath the earth that could sustain thousands of people indefinitely. And the historical pattern shows that information about such projects remains classified for decades, meaning facilities built in the 1990s might not be acknowledged until the 2040s, and facilities being built right now may not be revealed until you're too old to care. The real question isn't whether underground cities exist, it's whether you and I are invited, or whether we're simply expected to accept whatever fate awaits on the surface while others retreat to safety below. And if catastrophe never comes, if these facilities sit unused for centuries, does that make them wastes of resources or the best investment humanity ever made? If these revelations about what lies beneath our feet have opened your eyes to possibilities you never considered, make sure to subscribe to Code Protocol for more deep dives into the conspiracies that shape our world. Hit that like button to let me know this content resonates with you. And drop a comment sharing your thoughts. Do you think massive underground cities exist? Have you ever encountered strange evidence of underground activity in your area? What do you think they're really building down there? Until next time, remember that reality has layers, and the surface is just where they let us walk. Keep questioning, keep digging deeper, metaphorically, of course, unless you want a visit from some very serious people. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next investigation.